It was probably 3.5 years after my dad's funeral that I was cleaning out the garage and came across this briefcase full of stuff. Photographs, passports, letters. There's just so much I don't know about my family. My dad was 60 when I was born.
Wow, that hair, that volume.
The mystery of who my dad is only started unravelling after he died. The secrets were there all along in plain sight.
This is him when he was much younger than any of the photos we've come across before.
He never mentioned that he raised another family decades before he married my mum. I wanted to know where they were living now and find out as much info as I could. We were always told that lying was bad, that you shouldn't lie. In our language, lying is called big talk, gong oibo. You're not supposed to do big talk. That is one of the highest sins in our household. So that's probably why I was so mad when I found out about all this stuff, because it just seemed like a lot of hypocrisy. All I inherited was a bunch of family secrets and my dad's old car. I would describe myself as a comedian, presenter, and actor. It depends on the day, really, and who's asking. As a teenager, it was one of my main frustrations was having parents that wouldn't let me do anything, basically, and I kind of rebelled against that. So I think I was drawn to comedy to be able to express some of those emotions and frustrations. Hands together for Annie Louey! Woo! Thank you for coming along. I'm turning 30 very soon. Wow. Yeah, wow, I know. It is depressing. It is depressing. I feel so old. And my mum's very worried about me because I'm not married. And when she was at my age, she was already married and had a kid, which was me. So she's been trying to give me some dating advice, except she hasn't dated. She had an arranged marriage with a man, my dad, who was 60 years old when I was born. I say, yeah, I could be married right now. We'll go down for a drive to the old folks' home and we'll have a browse. See what's left after COVID. My family is really small. It's just my parents, my sister and I.
So my name's Anna, obviously, and Annie's name is Annie, and it's been a big issue our whole lives.
It's probably one of our greatest traumas, but it's bonded us. One of the first and best jokes I wrote was that my parents never got through page 1 of the baby naming book.
Annie is definitely the funniest person I know, and I also think of her as my best friend in many ways.
I remember possibly being there when she was conceived. We all slept in the same room.
I've known Annie since we met in year 7. At school, she was always really confident. She was known for being the funny one.
By the time I hit my teens, it was very turbulent. My dad was super strict on me, like I was never allowed to go out with my friends. The answer was always no to anything. There was a lot of screaming matches, heaps of door slamming.
咁係㗎，佢爸爸真係好對教育咧都好嚴厲。可能佢爹哋咧因為年紀大咧，對社會經歷嘅嘢比較多。
I think growing up, I felt very alone because my sister was a lot younger than me. There was like no one to really understand me at home. And every time I wanted to go out with my friends, I was met with a firm resistance. My dad keeping track of where I was at all times. I think I was always frustrated. Why can't you speak English? Why can't you get us to do extracurricular activities like everybody else?
When Annie was around 15, 16, she really wanted to join the Army Cadets program in high school, and she came home and told my parents about it, and I think they were instantly disapproving.
It's like a slumber party, but in a different location, and you basically don't have adults controlling what you're doing.
有啲即係唔係好開心啦，但係我就會同佢爹哋講，佢中意就等佢做啦。
It was the 4th day in the bush and we were doing a survival dinner. I made this fire, it was really cracking. It was a great fire. And I went to make dinner, and so I was peeling the pumpkin and the knife slipped and all this blood started coming out, and I remember seeing the trees getting blurry and I passed out. I fell into my own fire. I woke up and my ears were ringing and I could smell burnt hair and I could only see out of one eye and I couldn't talk properly. I remember them saying no duff on the radio, which is like, this is not a drill. Like, this is...
We just finished having dinner as a family when the phone rang.
醫院佢哋冇講個詳細情形俾我聽，只係話發生嗰陣時，俾火整餐咁，個程度點樣咧就唔知。
It was just a real moment of shock and panic. They told us that she was being rushed in the back of an ambulance to hospital.
仲傷心下，我都忍住，我冇點啊，但係我睇到個樣咧就好。 個心梗係傷心啦。
They told me it was 1st, 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The first time that I looked in the mirror, I remember it looking like one of those diagrams you see in health class with the muscles. It was like it'd been completely stripped back and I was fully red, swollen. I think I'd, lost my hair and my eyebrow. And just one look, I just passed out while sitting down because it was too much to cope with. These are the pressure garments that I haven't looked at probably since I stopped wearing them.
We had to pretty much start the process of being a nurse outside of the hospital. So her bandages had to get changed every few hours, and there was a very vigorous cleaning process that was extremely painful.
I would wake up every day going, I'm so grateful to be alive, but at the same time I wish I had died because what I had to do every day was so unbearable. It was fun, funny.
I think Annie had a lot of anxiety around going back to school. As soon as she got home or during the night, she had to put all the compression masks back on.
Yeah, I wore it from the ages of 16 to 18.
I can't breathe and it smells so bad in here. I feel like you didn't do it up right at the back.
Anyway, there you go.
Lord.
Okay, what's it like to walk in my shoes? You want to go to the shops? Maybe it was a few months later I could put makeup on, and from then I think I just used that as a mask. I just was probably quite depressed. I'd go home and just put the TV on and I'd just fall asleep, and that was my life for probably a good year after that.
She worked really hard to not appear as if there was any change. If she's not okay, you can't really tell. She covers it up a lot, and she does it really successfully as well.
So firstly, we have Naiads doing their corals piece to kick off the coral section of corals.
I had just turned 16 about a week before this camp, and I wanted to be an actor at the time.
Your noble son is mad! Mad, Paul.
She loved being on stage. She was absolutely involved in a lot of school productions. What teenage girl, after going through an accident like that, wants to go on stage and have everybody staring at her by choice?
In the months that I spent at home resting, I was super bored. I just borrowed every DVD that I could find that was Australian comedians, international comedians, and I had always wanted to give that a go. I studied journalism before deciding to give comedy a go full time. Life's too short. You could die at any moment, and why not do the things that you want to do now?
It's Annie Louey!
It was very hard to get into the scene. The first open mic that I did, I was the only woman after 20 men.
Really, I am glad to be here, mainly because when I was a kid and I told people I wanted to be a comedian, they laughed. Do you know how confusing that is? I met a girl at a bar when I was in Europe. She said she was Chinese, and I was like, "You're Chinese? No way, I'm Chinese." And then the next thing I said, I managed to surprise even myself. I said, "But your English is so good." My dad didn't like to see us spending too much time on the computer. He told us to read a dictionary.
And I set this goal to do 50 gigs in a year, and it taught me so much about just rocking up and something's gonna happen.
Hey, I'm Annie Louey. To destigmatise the topic of death, I'm taking a bunch of performers and comedians on a ride with me. So get ready to hear it straight from the hearse's mouth.
Now she's a TV presenter, she's a radio host, she's a stand-up comedian, she's a writer, she does everything.
Hello there, I'm Samuel Yang, and welcome to China Tonight.
I'm Annie Louey, and I'm Chinese every night. I've been doing comedy since I was 16, so that is half my life. I don't own anything, I don't own a house, but I do have a car. I inherited it from my dad. The car is 20 years old now, and it's still going. I never thought it was weird to drive a car that my dad had his final moments in. 8 years ago, he was driving his car to visit a friend, and he had a stroke at a red light. So this is a red light. We got a red light. This is exactly what would have happened. He would have been there, slumped over at the steering wheel, and people behind him would have been honking the shit out of him and saying, "It's green, you dickhead," and then swerving around and skidding off. And I just wanted to say, in our defence, not all Asians are bad drivers. Some of us are dead. When somebody dies, the history dies with them. And that was very obvious that I had so many more questions I wanted to ask my dad.
He probably knew he was going to take this secret to the grave.
You reckon? Since my dad, David, passed away, we discovered that he had 2 other marriages, and he also had 2 children to his first wife. They're actually 60-year-old
Yeah,
women.
they could be our mums.
And they had a dog. We weren't allowed to have a dog. I'm already jealous.
啲女問我點知啊？佢唔講我聽，我都冇辦法啦。
I think there's a big shock factor involved, and it makes you reconsider your interactions with the person, like with Dad.
I felt more angry than sad. I think if we had been able to talk about it, we could have all accepted that he had another life. So this is the younger sister.
Which was cut out of this photo.
Yeah.
If only it was that simple to solve everything.
Oh, there we go. Found my family.
Someone be like,
I love having a sister so much, and I think if I could have 2 more of her and we actually get along, that would be, I think that would be heaven. No, that's him taking a photo of someone.
Yep.
I decided to enlist the help of a family history researcher so that we can try and find my sisters.
Have you tried stalking them on Facebook or not?
Yeah, I have. Nothing. Can't find anything.
No luck?
No luck, yeah. I have medical records of one of the older daughter suffering from schizophrenia, and there's an address that's written multiple times in my dad's diary. One of the letters was asking my dad about whether he was going to visit, so I found that very sad. That was the letter that was
what
torn.
she's asking him whether he's
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I do worry about how they feel about our dad. what motivation do they have to talk to me? I would probably be quite jealous and resentful of a dad who was absent and started a new life.
That would probably be the next best thing, to try and find her.
A family friend gave me the contact for Keith. She said he's one of your dad's best friends. I'm really keen to talk to Keith because he's the only person I've found who can tell me about my dad's early life. The thing is, we're running out of time because he has stage 4 cancer.
When she rang me, she said, I'm David's daughter. I was really surprised. Honestly, I didn't even know he married the 3rd time. Now, your dad looked after me like a little brother. And when I come to Melbourne, he got me a job in a dim sum factory.
By then, he was still married to his first wife.
Yeah. Well, I better not say what.
Just tell me, because I wanna know.
Because your dad is, he likes girls. Doesn't matter he married or not. He used to bring some lady down to the factory, we're having a party and all the stuff. I already told him, he's doing a stupid thing, he's doing the wrong thing to his wife, but he won't listen. What can I do?
Keith confirmed that my dad left his first family and entered a relationship with another woman, but Keith couldn't tell me anything about the younger daughter.
The oldest daughter, she's a very, very sensitive girl. I think, that might hit her so hard, she ended up in the mental hospital.
I feel really sorry for the oldest daughter. So this, I suppose, file on the oldest daughter says that she was admitted to a neuropsychiatric hospital. She appears mentally ill. Facts I observed, she seems very withdrawn and appears to be having hallucinations. Name of the informant, David Louey. So she was 25. Now she'd be 63. In Chinese culture, mental health is not really spoken about. And if they do have someone in the family who has a problem, they would definitely hide it away. I would say until the age of 25, I was completely out of touch with my emotions. That came from my parents, being stoic was valued and to not show emotion, but I think my dad took that too far to not even give a hint of his previous life. Yeah, it makes me reflect a lot on my own mental health struggles. Pretty soon after the accident, I started seeing a dermatologist, and I've had, I think, about 30 different types of treatments and surgeries every couple of months. And I think where I am today is where I thought initially when it happened I'd be fixed in a couple of months, and it's actually taken, this is 14 years on.
Yeah.
When I first came out of hospital, I would say I was definitely depressed and also suicidal. I felt like there was no end to the suffering, and I didn't imagine I would ever live a normal life again.
Just remember you're a teenager when this happened, and you're still forming a sense of self, and that's the most disastrous time really to have this sort of thing happen to you.
What is healing quicker, and what's that process like for people, the physical versus the mental?
I think the mental is more important. I think it goes hand in hand, obviously. Do you feel like you're more comfortable with the scarring now than you were back then?
Yeah, I'm definitely more comfortable and accepting that this is close to my final form and that I can go around being less self-conscious.
Yeah.
When I felt like my own mental health and physical health had stabilised, I decided that it would be good to help other people. In 2016, I just knew that it was time to try finding a burns community. And I came across the Kids Foundation and I saw that they have camps every year. This is the annual camp for families who have somebody who's been burnt or suffered from severe injuries.
She actually applied to be a volunteer at our camp. She came along and told us her story.
My name's Annie. I am a burn survivor. I was burnt at 16.
She then went on to become the most amazing mentor for the young people.
And since then, I've really been able to pursue the thing that I discovered I love the most, which is performing and comedy.
Had my accident when I was 4 months old, was burnt in a house fire, injuries to 30% of my body. I met Annie at a kids camp and we just got along instantly, really. Even though I think she doesn't think she's a mentor sometimes, she definitely is.
Presenting the ad and I introduce each function, so like dancing, and then what are you?
It's been 7 years of volunteering most years. If they can see somebody who is Chinese, a burn survivor, outgoing and wants to perform, I think that does a lot for children who think, oh, I don't look like the majority of people.
How
are you, Annie?
Good, thanks.
It's been a couple of months since I spoke to Linda, the researcher.
I'm keen to hear if you've got any news.
Been slow, but we've made some progress. We've discovered where your eldest half-sister is. She's living in a supported living facility, like an assisted care place. So I contacted them to see if there was anybody there by the name of your older sister, and they confirmed she'd been there for many years.
So she's still there. She's alive and she's still there.
And she's still there. According to them, the mother's still alive and is her only visitor. They didn't know anything about a younger sister.
It does make me sad that she only has one visitor, so I would love to visit.
Yeah.
And
the younger sister still remains a bit of a mystery.
I would love to go there and just meet as soon as possible. I will ask Keith for advice, whether he might be able to do an introduction for us. I'm thinking that we could write a letter and then drop it off there, containing your phone number as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you be open to that?
Yeah, sure. No worry, yeah.
Because I think I'm most nervous about them rejecting our offer to meet and then we can't do anything about it.
We'll do it.
Keith has offered to take a letter to my oldest half-sister, addressed to her mother, to see if they can get in contact with him. He agreed to drop the letter at the care facility where my half-sister lives.
I go in there by myself, okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully with a bit of luck I might be able to see her.
I mean, that would be wild. That'd be quite a
Okay.
discovery if they're just walking around. No, there she is. I don't want to get disappointed in case I've been dreaming of a reunion that doesn't happen. I think that would be sad. I'm preparing for all scenarios.
I think if I met them now, I would just want to hear about their lives and find a way to create a sense of peace amongst us, because there's obviously a lot of, I'm sure, trauma that's been involved.
Keith just texted me and said, can you please call?
I have bad news. Unfortunately, the second sister had passed away. And I'm sorry for telling you guys that. And she died of breast cancer about 4 years ago.
It is very shocking to hear. Keith told us that the surviving sister was not interested in meeting up with him and I can only assume that there's not much of a chance she would want to meet up with us either. Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye.
Wild. Yeah, I think that gets me emotional because I'm like, oh, I already imagine saying to her, like, I don't normally hug people, but I want to give you a hug. Yes, no, I just like I wish I could take all their pain away and say I'm sorry for what our dad did, even though I didn't know. Yeah, I feel really sad for her. Yeah, and they had such a hard life as well, so.
What really felt like the saddest thing about the whole thing was just if, like, the mum passes away and she, like, the older sister just has no one.
I guess all I could do is say that I'm here, and if they ever want to contact me, that I'm just going to be there for as long as we're alive, and hopefully it works out. I think the best outcome is that everybody is just a little less lonely. In Chinese culture, traditionally, it's quite taboo to go digging up the past. I've opened up a can of worms and I can't put them back. I don't really know what my dad would be thinking if he could see us doing this. There's the voice of the dad I knew in reality, and then the voice of the beyond the grave dad. And beyond the grave dad is much more forgiving, I think, and encouraging. Whereas in real life dad, he would be like, can you stop talking about me and our family affairs? Every time I come here, I reflect on, you know, would your dad be proud of you? I think it doesn't actually matter because yeah, when I come here, I'm proud of myself. I feel it was worthwhile to go through all of this because I'll never be wondering where they are or what happened to them. I don't think the story is done. I'm still open to having any kind of reunion if they want to. But I do drink. I started drinking the day I started comedy, and my parents started drinking the day I started comedy too. Did you know I used to be a maths tutor? But I worked out very quickly you don't need to be qualified to be a maths tutor, you just need to look like this. This is how you get to go to rich people's houses and eat their cheese.